Syria and now turning it against Iraq. Islamic State has now put out a taunting speech calling for the killing of civilians and calling for attacks in the United States and Europe. And, of course, this will be used, as we predicted. It wasn't hard to predict. We predicted years ago that the radical Islamists being given Libya and Syria and areas of Iraq and areas of Africa would then be allowed to attack the West, and then they would take more of our freedoms and legitimize the NSA spying and the microphones and sculptures in Chicago and Austin, Texas, and the Stingray system stealing our cell phone data and listening to us without warrants in lifetime. It'll all be used as why we had to give our freedoms up, even though in plain view, criminal elements of our government armed them. That's why this is so important. And here's a clip from the Communist News Network where ISIS calls for attacks in the U.S. and Europe.
These are the fighters ISIS is preparing to be stone-cold killers, featured in a new training camp video. And tonight, a new audio tape threatening attacks on the U.S. homeland is drawing a strong response from Washington. A U.S. official tells CNN law enforcement and counterterrorism officials are working with foreign partners to thwart this threat. A threat made by a senior ISIS leader who for the first time specifically calls for lone wolf attacks inside Western countries. Rig the roads with explosives for them, attack their bases, raid their homes, cut off their heads, do not let them feel secure, remove their families from their homes, and thereafter blow up their homes.
Could this audio tape activate someone who's in ISIS or even a sympathizer inside the U.S. to conduct a lone wolf attack?
Yeah, and then they'll get up and call and take my guns because you let them do it.
Keeps pushing that message for individuals within the United States, within European countries, to simply act out. The Islamic State could be trying to do the same thing.
The ISIS leader also specifically calls for attacks on U.S. allies France and Australia. Just days ago, Australian authorities say they disrupted just such an attack in Sydney. In the new training video, ISIS is refining its military tactics and shows it's able to attract more Westerners.
They see this as a serious organization that really wants to fight, not just talk about it, to be a warrior. And this is part and parcel of making that transition from being a civilian to being a warrior in the minds of these recruits.
This is one man who could be drawing them in.
The flames of war are only beginning to intensify.
U.S. intelligence officials now say this man, seen in a recent video apparently executing Syrians, could be an American.
Oh, you think so?
Voice analysis is underway, and officials tell us they're concerned this could be the first time they're seeing an American in a position of apparent authority inside ISIS. Further evidence of Westerners getting recruited to join jihad in Syria, this video showing ISIS fighters from Britain.
Now tonight, just hours after that ISIS spokesman called on foreign fighters to carry out attacks inside the U.S., a senior Obama administration official warned that the international community is not prepared to respond to such calls. The official saying, quote,
okay, there you go.
"We are not structured that way."
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at who headed up Al-Qaeda, this is just Al-Qaeda rebranded with a whole new generation that's been trained. Guaranteed, those Western so-called leaders of ISIS you saw are working for Western intelligence agencies, MI6, CIA, Mossad. It's on record that Adam Gadon was a Western operative heading up Al-Qaeda. Do you really believe these people are following Westerners and not knowing who gives them weapons, who gives them Stinger missiles, who gives them intel? And it's their job to produce scary videos and to go around and do all this bad stuff, so then the West can wind up useful idiot jihadis who are being commanded by ISIS, who will really think they're attacking America, to blow up schools, shoot up schools, attack shopping malls, and then they're going to say, we got to have checkpoints inside shopping malls, and that's it. Everybody's got to turn their guns in. If no guns are allowed, then there's no way that Ahmed Habib Rajaga, made-up name, could have gone into the gun shop and bought the weapons. I mean, you can see the scripting. You can watch it happen. And you notice I told you 4 years ago when all this started, what would then happen? Now they're doing the preconditioning for the low-intensity asymmetrical attacks I think it's going to be with guns. And this is, they're going to take our guns. This is how they operate. So get ready for it. Get ready for it. In that whole region. Turkey, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the NATO countries, the United States are all aiding the jihadis, the Al-Qaeda IS, to bring down Syria. That's 95% of the fighting force. Mainstream news says 65, 70%. No, it's 95%. And they just go, oh, you're the non-radical Islamists. Here's the weapons, 600 tons of them last year, and then they hand them right to Al-Qaeda. But because the public woke up to that and the military woke up, they now call them ISIL and all the rest of it. Well, the public didn't buy that, so now they're doing some bombing of them. Let me tell you who was really bombing IS yesterday. Syrian aircraft in the Golan Heights near the Israeli border, fighter bomber coming in low in fierce battles with Al-Qaeda. AP reports that. In fierce battles with IS. And Israel shot down the Syrian aircraft. First time that's happened in 30 years, AP reports. 30 years since that happened. And now Israel is saying they did it on purpose. They say it came a little bit in their airspace. The people out there that support Israel just mindlessly, Israel's diverse. Israel has a lot of different political views and 5 or 6 political parties. Even if you aren't against Israel or pro-Israel, you need to be able to criticize Israel when it's doing bad things. Just like I don't like our government arming ISIS. I don't like Israel giving field support to ISIS and the jihadis and medical support. That's been in the Israeli papers for a year, that Israel is supporting the jihadis to bring down Syria. And the argument's, well, we don't like Syria. This'll, what, to then turn it over to the jihadis? That's how you completely lose the moral high ground. And people know I've not been a critic of Israel, but I tell you, this makes me want to throw up. Just like it makes me want to throw up about Saudi Arabia, but what do you expect? Or our corrupt government. Look at this article out of Euronews. Syrian fighter jet shot down by Israel over the Golan Heights. First such incident in almost 30 years. Israel shot down a Syrian fighter jet over the Golan Heights. Syria has described the shooting as an act of aggression. Think so? Earlier, the Israeli military said it appeared the Syrian plane had crossed by accident into Israeli-controlled airspace over the Golan Heights. The area has been the scene of fierce battles in recent weeks between the Al-Qaeda-linked al-Nusra Front and the forces of the Syrian government and President Bashar Assad. So that's what's really going on when you try to bomb ISIS. Not when you go out and bomb a couple of Toyota trucks parked on a hilltop. Looks completely rigged. Here's another one. U.S. allies hit militant targets in Syria, kill 11 civilians. Press TV. I mean, who knows if any of that's even true? Pentagon cites new terror threat as ISIS war gets underway. Shadowy terror group used to justify illegal and unconstitutional attack in Syria. ISIS, Turkey's tool for reestablishing the caliphate. You know, I got to hand it to them. I remember when Glenn Beck and others were having Jerome Corsi and other people on talking about a caliphate and the plan to launch one with Turkey behind it. And I'm like, give me a break. A new caliphate or Ottoman Empire, and now it's happening. So I'm not always first to say something, and I'm not always right. I mean, I just can't believe how bold the West is to openly fund these groups, turn them loose in 6 different countries at least, and then turn around like we're stupid and say we're going to arm them to fight them. I want to talk first-time callers, military, police, people in Israel, people in Syria, people in Lebanon, folks in the Middle East. You can get through on the lines. We'll go to you first. You got to dial your country access code and then this toll-free number, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. I want to hear from you on this subject. We'll go right to your calls when we come back. But am I wrong? I mean, should Israel go ahead and just bomb Damascus? How about nuke them? Israel has nukes. Why not just nuke Damascus? That's a more loving death than turning it over to Al-Qaeda, to every Christian, non-radical Muslim, and Jew have their head chopped off. I mean, is it anti-Israel or anti-NATO or anti-America if we don't nuke Syria right now and raise the Al-Qaeda flag over the White House? Maybe I've been radical. Maybe I've been an extremist. Maybe these policies are good. Maybe 2 + 2 does equal 5. Maybe Obamacare is free. Maybe there are no death panels, even though they admit them. Maybe NSA spying is good. I mean, maybe fluoride in the water is good. Maybe I've been wrong. Maybe Al Sharpton isn't a disgusting demon. I mean, come on. Maybe Bill Clinton tells the truth.
We're on the mark.